was yay old.
What is going on, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf. Today's show, we are going to go over a whole lot. Happy Halloween, folks. It is definitely spooky, and it's not all tradition. We'll be right back right after this.
I was walking on some dark roads. Mother once told me, reap what you sow. Never gonna see me slumming low. Can't run slow when you on a high road. Never gonna freeze. All
right. What is going on, guys? Remember, before we get started, my name is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. First off, just want to let you know, nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. With that out of the way, if you are not getting notifications from any of the, of course, DLive, YouTube, or the many other platforms, make sure to get them from us. You can actually go to marfooglenews.com and sign up for alerts. You can actually get push notifications directly to your phone, or you can get our email alerts. Either way, you'll know what is up and where we are at. Of course, I had a recent bout with diverticulitis. We let people know through email about that. That kind of thing is something that we can send you. Other than that, though, we have big creators that write articles, and we are going to be launching a few of those coming up here. We did have some crazy stuff go on just a couple weeks ago because, of course, everybody, it's just absolute pandemonium behind the scenes everywhere on YouTube. And then, of course, you've got a ton of stuff going on. So, getting that out of the way, let's go over to Dex. Dex, what is going on, and can we do a sound check?
Hello, Adam. I am here, and hello, Foogle fam.
So, first off, you have been busy as well. You've been you've been all over the place doing some stuff. You lost power for almost a full day. Is that right?
Yeah, that Hurricane Zeta came through, and it wreaked havoc on everybody through Alabama, through Georgia. We had over 1 million. I don't know how many millions there were across the South. It's probably multiple. But we had definitely over 1 million here in Georgia, and we didn't have power for almost 15 hours.
I heard it was close to 3 million people without power, and I thought that was just Georgia, but I could be wrong. It could have said in the South, but that was one of the headlines I believed I saw. As far as I didn't think anything of it, and then of course you said you were out of power. I got the text message late, so it said I've been out of power for 6 hours, and then by the time I checked it, you had left 3 messages saying now 12 hours, now 16 hours. So I thought that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was. It definitely makes you reevaluate things. Make sure you've got all your stuff in order. So.
Now, it's no secret that you have been out actively doing stuff as far as your views on the current events. It sounds like you actually met somebody special. You met a Foogle fam member out on the street. And
yeah, we mentioned it a little bit one of the last shows. Somebody had recognized me, and it was so cool to actually meet a Foogle fam member. We were out just doing a friendly flag waving, and a guy named TZ108. I think that's a new screen name. He's changed it to that. So, but yeah, he's a Foogle fam member, and it was so cool to meet somebody live like that.
Well, again, if what's even crazier about that is they recognize Dex from his voice. Dex has done on-camera stuff, but most of the time he is co-hosting or he's on the phones or doing the internet stuff behind the scenes. He's updating the website, which brings me to my next point. If you want to follow along, any of the articles here tonight will actually be backed up on our website. We don't just say something without backing up where the source is. We give you a bibliography of sorts. Now, if you go to our website, marfooglenews.com, you'll actually see on U.S. soil. Now, that title might actually change. Usually the thumbnail does not. But again, you can click on this and get every single tweet, every single video, every single article, every single document that we post here, every single caller that ends up posting a video, or if they send in a picture of Bigfoot, it will be on our website on marfooglenews.com, usually at the bottom. Now it says show topics. You can actually grab a second device and get on and actually read along with us. You can grab your tablet or your iPad and you can actually go to this and then click and then read along. If you guys want to support our channel in any way, again, we are trying to expand. We would like to bring on more people. Again, you can do that on the right side of the page. You can see we have all of our sponsors there: EMP Shield, NordVPN, of course, Earthing, and then Amazon. If you want to get something, the Amazon's really cool because you don't have to spend anything that you would normally not spend. You might get a discount on some things, but really what it is that you are doing it already. If you use our link, it will help prosper the show. So again, a lot of people forget about that. Thank you for everyone's support just thus far, and thank you guys for helping us get as far as we have. All right, with that out of the way, let's get into the first article. Again, at the end of the show, we're going to be doing something special. We're going to be transitioning into something, so stay tuned for that. It won't be too long. Again, this is going to be pretty quick. We're going to get through a lot of really crazy news. U.S.-China tensions. American troops not planning attack on Chinese territory, Beijing says. That's one hell of a title. By the way, this picture, I don't know if this looks real. What an epic picture, by the way. I don't know about the framing. You could have cropped it a little bit, but man, think about seeing that coming your way. And really, this is nothing. They have, during World War II, they had just thousands of planes. Imagine that coming at you in a conflict, or even imagine being in Pearl Harbor. And I'm sure there's some people that are still alive that were there and saw all of these planes coming in. It's a magnificent sight. But as far as the tensions between China and the U.S., those have gotten worse and worse. And a lot of folks have said, oh, this is just a distraction, this or that. Well, what makes me think that that's not exactly the case is a lot of the stuff that's happening secretly. Of course, there's a lot of people that say, well, T-Man is friends with Xi, and he says, oh, he's a great guy. At the same time, T-Man is saying that, they're to blame for this current event, this entire year of wearing masks, all of that. They're saying that they're to blame. Not to mention, you've got financially us cutting ties, basically setting up. You've got China basically setting up to not use us anymore and not be dependent on things like soy, which surprises a lot of people when they find out that we actually export soy to them. Now they are getting farmland from Russia to actually grow soy and things like that. Again, they are trying to cut all of their dependencies from us, and we are doing the same along with other countries. It looks like there is a big setup for the third world conflict. I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm just telling you guys what is pretty obvious. If anybody, you don't even need to be an expert. It's every single day there is something adding on to this pile of crap between us and China. Not to mention, if there is some sort of psyop going on as far as using them to instill fear or this or that, it's still going to be something that is publicly done. As far as, you don't think that they would do a full world scale conflict to change the world if you're talking about the families and the groups that run this planet? Not even like conspiracy. I'm talking about like the families that literally run the planet, that are above presidents, that are millionaires, trillionaires, gazillionaires, that have their hand in everybody's country. They will fund both sides, and then in the end, they'll be completely awesome. So, and if you think they care about human life, just my opinion, I don't think they do whatsoever. In fact, I think that they believe a lot of it on the lower ends is not even worth their time. Not even worth anybody's time. That's the view on most people when you get that high up. These people believe that they are so rich because they were entitled, or they're, God graced this mission upon them. They're so rich that they think that they should rule the world. Most of these people have ego problems. They think that they are elites. They think like this. If you've ever met somebody who is even in the upper echelons, they just don't talk to people the same. They feel a separation, a huge separation from just mediocre, just regular people. Even people we would consider to be wealthy, they consider to be poor. We're talking about if you're a multimillionaire, that's nothing to them. That's like what they spend on their, on their lunch. Maybe a little bit exaggeration there, but again, in some cases, probably true. It says the United States has dismissed rumors it is planning to launch an attack on Chinese territory in the South China Sea. Now, again, why are there rumors in the first place? I didn't even know that there were rumors, but again, to attack the South China Sea. Isn't this kind of what we've been saying for months and months and months? And now they actually have to officially kind of quell the rumor. It says, in an apparent bid to ease tensions in the region, China's defense ministry said that the two sides had recently held talks on crisis management and planned to hold a maritime security dialogue before the end of the year. It says that U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper clarified the issue through the military diplomacy channel and said that the reports were inconsistent with the facts. That's the way he put it. It says ministry spokesman Wu Qian said, without saying whom Esper spoke to. Now, it says that suggestions that the U.S. might be planning an attack began on an American media outlets reported on an exercise in California in September involving U.S. troops simulating an island attack. So I just want to say, I don't know if you guys know this. This wasn't public. Not many things even talked about it. But yet there it is. If you guys remember, we've been talking about the troops going to the West Coast to drill for something. It wasn't a Pacific Defender. And when I said that, people were like, oh, that's BS. You just made that up. Now we see that there was drills going on in California, West Coast. Just saying. Not trying to pat myself on the back. Everybody says that. I'm just trying to let the new people know that at least we try to back up what we say, and we try to we strive for a really good track record so that later we don't look bad. So I got in an argument with somebody on Twitter, and I said basically. I said, put anything that I have knowingly misled people on and have not corrected. And I said, if you put one thing down that I have knowingly misled people, I will make a show and I will publicly correct it and say you're right. This person, again, was really cool at the end of our debate. He said 3 or 4 things, but I said, those aren't things I said were going to happen. Well, so like pole shift. Said, oh, you said pole shift is going to happen. I didn't say a time, and I never would. I said that I believe it is going to happen, and I do. And it will happen. It's a fact. I don't even get why people even question that when they see the pole shifting like this and speeding up, going from over here to Siberia. Yeah, and if it does, nobody knows what it's going to do. We haven't been around for one. But we've only talked about theories and things that scientists have said versus what people think. That's what we do on this show. As far as an asteroid hitting the Earth before the day before election, I said that was reported that one may hit. Again, that's not something I didn't put the date on that. Neil deGrasse Tyson did, and I said it was the size of a refrigerator. And is that what is being said? Now Neil deGrasse Tyson says, oh, it will give us a buzz cut. It won't hit. But he said it would hit and then fixed it. So again, we just report what others say, and when we do say something that is from us, that's why I try to point out. We do have really good sources here, and over 3 years, we've had everybody from, doctors, lawyers, police officers, even senators and congressmen contacting us and saying, hey, this is great. We love your show. Again, these are a lot of the same people watch a lot of this stuff. Most of it's gone now. So I appreciate that. Some of you don't even question it. So I hope that everybody is just plain old ready for anything. That's the thing. If we are all prepared mentally for anything, then this becomes a whole lot less scary. This becomes something that when it does happen, you don't freeze up and you just get your stuff done. Either way, we're all going to perish at some time, and I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but if you take that fear of death, and that's really when you take the route all the way down to the Rhine, that's where everybody is afraid. That's why they call it fear this and fear that. It's not. Once you stop fearing about that, or if you even have super faith, like you don't care if you're taken tomorrow, then it does not get it. Then it's not scary. Then it's talking about stuff that you might be wanting to prepare for. If you're the matriarch, the patriarch, you should have that, planned out. Maybe you don't care so much about you care about your family, and that's a good thing. You're not crazy for prepping. You're not crazy for thinking these things. You are a normal human being. We are meant to think out strategies for this. The government, the military, they do it all the time. They do drills for aliens landing on a beach at sunset. Super specific things. And I'm just making up one for an example. But again, they practice for everything. Why don't we? Well, most of the time because we're doing our 9 to 5 grinding to try to get that next piece of cheese. So it's not, and it's culturally something that is looked down upon, and that is no accident. They started that with JFK. They made people that questioned everything, they made them look kooky. But we're not in the old days where they used to hook you up and fry your brain or take a chunk out of your brain out if you didn't think the same way. Now they just quiet you and silence you. It says, the troops involved were uniforms adorned with a patch showing an MQ-9 Reaper drone superimposed over a map of China in silhouette. The reports prompted an angry response from China's state media, with the nationalist tabloid Global Times calling it, quote, an extremely arrogant provocation. Despite the fury, Wu said that the matter had now been resolved. So obviously they called each other and said, hey, it's not that. The U.S. side does not have the intention to create a military crisis and is willing to build stable, constructive, results-oriented ties, he said. Under the current circumstances, it is important for the two militaries to maintain communication. That's a big thing. For them to maintain communication. Imagine if they stopped talking. Imagine if something like this happened and you weren't on talking terms. We've been in areas where we were not talking to other presidents, especially other enemy presidents. There was periods of days, there was even periods of weeks where we were not talking to other leaders. It says, despite resolving the issue of a rumored attack, Wu took this opportunity to reiterate Beijing's warning to the U.S. to end its provocative actions in the Asia-Pacific region. It says, we called on the U.S. side to match its words with its actions and fulfill its promises. Stop military provocation against China and stop actions that harm China's core interests, he said. China will resolutely fight back against anyone who dares to incite conflicts at sea. Separately, Wu said that the Chinese and U.S. militaries held a virtual meeting on crisis management communication on Wednesday and Thursday and would hold talks on humanitarian assistance in mid-November and on maritime security before the end of the year. What do you guys think about this?
Adam?
Yes.
The first thing that came to my mind is we got to keep in mind this is written from China, right? This was in the South Morning China Post, right? So this is their side of the story. We do everything for a reason, and to think that we were doing island hopping or prepping for island hopping and wearing patches to provoke them, we absolutely were, and we were doing it to make sure they knew we were ready and we were willing to do whatever it takes. And there's no reason. And I'm certain Esper or somebody got on the phone and said, oh, no, we're not here to invade you, because we probably aren't. But we are here, if they do something wrong, to show enough strength and force to show them that what we can do, what we say we're going to do, right? And then the other thing, I look at this and I think, okay, this is the South China Sea. For the last 2 weeks, we've been doing nothing but talking about Taiwan, right? So don't look at the left hand, because something may be happening in the right hand. Right?
Absolutely. And what I think is interesting is, you remember October 1st is when all this weird stuff happened. Of course, we had some huge news out of the White House. In about 3 days, it was over with. Of course, people saw them walking with the nuclear football. You, of course, had the questionable boat video. If you don't know what that is, please go check that out about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Actually, about a month ago on the 1st. Check that out, because I think that there was some weird stuff going on, and maybe that was what it took to get communication, or maybe it was puffing their chest, or maybe it was doing these island hopping exercises. Maybe it was doing this stuff in California, moving artillery to Alaska. Who knows? I don't know. What do you guys think? Of course, I'm going to pop over to the chat after the first article here. Two old people on the couch. Thank you for being here. I love your channel if you guys haven't checked them out. And then Jamie Turnage, Watchmaker88. Thank you guys. Phil Bailey X. Thank you guys all for the positive words through me being down on my health. Again, I thank everybody that sent really awesome suggestions as far as diet and all that. People go, oh, well, doesn't sound like much. Diverticulitis is basically... it's like if you feel like both sides of your gut are exploding, like your appendix just broke on both sides. And it gets to the point where you can't walk and you can't talk or you can't even cough. In fact, I had a tiny cold at the very beginning of it, and it was horrific, which, of course, everybody got sick for like 3 days. And basically the next step is removing a part of my intestines. So I'm not looking forward to that possibly happening. So I really do appreciate all of you guys that said positive things, that sent me prayers, that obviously sent me a lot of prayers in my DMs. You guys are really awesome. Thank you. Rebel Snarfle, thank you for being here. Gypsy Mom, Joe Combo, Jared Till, Yanit Silvera. Let's see here. Life Row Toll, thank you for being here. Jeff Farm, Green Bay Lady, thank you. And then, of course, Sea Star Goddess, thank you. Get Well from N Golden, Alaska. Thank you so much for being the last one out last time. I do appreciate that. Doesn't look like I can see today's YouTube Dex, but if you can put that in the next up next or whatever, yeah, screener. And then we've got Ricky Y. We've got Johnny Doom. Thank you so much for being here tonight as well. And then, of course, we have a whole crowd of people over there, too. Let's see here. Thank you, guys. I'm going to have to pull it up. We've been having technical issue after technical issue. I'll go into it in just a second, but thank you, guys. Top U.S. officials. Now, this is a big one. Top U.S. officials were briefed on an active against Pentagon leaders. Say 5 officials. Now, I want you to look at this really carefully because this is a big deal, in my opinion. There's been stuff that we talked about 3 weeks ago. There was things that we actually showed you and talked about, kind of weeding through the dark web. Talked about continuity plans. And then, boom, 3 weeks later, it's public. If you remember what I said on other platforms about this and what we have been talking about with this, let me know in the chat. If you actually pay enough attention to all of our platforms to know exactly what I said about this. This is huge. Again, if people are going to say you're crazy, people are going to say you just make crap up, and then when it comes out, it doesn't matter that you're right? They're just not going to say anything. So don't care if people say you're crazy or say you're dumb or this or that. I don't even pay attention to it because at some point, their comment won't age well. It's usually digital comments. They're not face to face. They're not going to say anything to your face. They can type something and then hide. They can say something mean and then hide. But whereas when they say, oh yeah, this and that, I always say, let's see how this ages. Let's see how it ages. I don't say anything. I don't want to be corrected, especially when it's short-term things. I don't want to be corrected in 2 weeks and look like an idiot. So if I say something, I'm pretty sure of it. Just saying. And sure enough, and I talked about Soleimani specifically. Man. Anyways, so it says October 29th, it says U.S. military intelligence and law enforcement officials were briefed late last month on a threat against the Pentagon's most senior leaders while they are on American soil. That's a big deal. That's a big part there. That is not an embassy guy over here in Sweden. And I know that's not, that's like Ryan and Sweden put together, but it says not just traveling overseas, according to the 5 senior U.S. officials with direct knowledge of the matter. It says some officials said in the briefing suggested that the threat, which remains active, may be potential retaliation for the U.S. military's of Qasem Soleimani in January, although the information provided did not draw a definitive link. The briefings have sorry guys. The briefings have included information that suggests that the targets of are military leaders who were involved in the decision and operation to Soleimani. It says the briefings have also included information about a list compiled by adversaries of the names of military leaders who are to be targeted. So this is around the conversation of continuity of government. If something happens to these guys, again, kind of funny because a bunch of the chiefs of staff, remember when they were briefed on this, but now it's public. But they were briefed late last month, right before October 1st, right before the week where everybody got something and where everybody was locked down. I don't see how people don't see right through I mean, they can just print a story and say, yeah, a bird fell on their head and they've got to sit for 1 week in a room that has no birds up ahead. And people will go, yeah, that sounds, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what happens. One time I saw a bird, it was above me, and I was like, man, that would suck if it fell on me. I believe that story. Oh no, all the chiefs of staff are in lockdown? Oh, the president too? He's in a hospital? The Speaker of the House? Pretty much everybody? Everybody? Okay. Oh yeah. And 3 days later they're not? Oh. Sarcasm. And now it comes out that they're all under threat. You even have Dr. Ouchie, that hurts. Being protected at all times. Secret Service. Dex, does this not make sense?
Yeah, it's certainly ominous when I thought about it. We get the information late, or I should say, they announce the information like this later. They don't make it public right away. But, looking back, you can sort of connect the dots. And then more so, I worry about, we talk about these different types of events that may happen in the coming days that are leading up. And is this a foreshadow of, here's an excuse. So when the news comes out that maybe a bunch of people have been taken down, then they can point back and say, well, we told you why, and that's your excuse. Right? But maybe something else is actually happening.
Oh, here it is. Let's see here. Remember, just to remind you guys, all of the chief of staff and leaders of the country under basically we don't want any of them getting sick, all went into Mount Cheyenne, the world's most secure bunker, and 2 other locations around the world. All of the military leaders were put away at the very beginning of this whole thing, so they wouldn't get it. But then all of a sudden, October 1st, we find out, oh yeah, not only does the president have it, the wife they didn't say a word about her, didn't say where she was, which is kind of strange, didn't say anything about where the son was, didn't say anything. Appears he's on a boat, which, by the way, any film expert can look at that video and go, how would that happen if it's on a locked off tripod? Even if it's handheld, then that doesn't make sense either, because that wouldn't be the movement of a handheld camera. It was doing this. If you measure off both sides, one is going off, so it's a floating object. And then the next video in the same place was locked off. And then a mysterious drive-by that was totally mysterious after he sent all of the press back to Washington, D.C., drove by like 10 people and said, I'm still here. I'm actually here. Even though everyone knows that all military leaders, all presidents have a body double, and some of them even get CIA-level surgery to look exactly like the president. Just why we have 2 planes, 2 Air Force Ones, 2 Beasts, 2 limos, 2 everything. 2 Mercuries, 2 Doomsday planes, 2 helicopters, because they never want them knowing exactly where the president is. But, again, all but one of military joint chiefs of staff do the Q word after Admiral test positives. So they all got to go hiding and no public appearances for any of these guys. But they leave one so he can do public appearances. Nobody finds that strange. Just saying. For the people that follow, you guys get it. So, if you look at kind of the bigger picture, something just seems a little bit off. That's all I'm saying. And then, of course, with massive exercise in North, IDF prepares for conflict on multiple fronts. It says the IS Defense Forces on Thursday completed its premier exercise of the year, a large-scale simulation of conflict in the North against Hez and other right-land proxies, and a smaller conflict on the Gaza Strip. It says, dubbed Lethal Arrow, what a name, the drill was meant to improve the military's offensive capability, specifically the number of targets it is able to strike each day, according to senior IDF officers. It says the exercise, which began Sunday, was the IDF's largest of 2020, with both regular conscripted units and reservists taking part. Through its size, though its size was scaled back significantly due to the CV, which they have put everybody on lockdown all across the world. Everywhere is going back in, including IS. A lot of folks believe we will be in the next week or two. To be honest, most places are setting it up for, oh, by the way, on Sunday, we're going back in. A lot of places are already suggested to stay home. Now, of course, we are getting the numbers, which you guys know. When I hear the numbers about this current event, I just hear. Those are whale sounds. So, what are they really doing over there? Let me know. Let me know over in the chat below. I'm going to open up something real quick, and then I'm going to pop over and say hi to you guys. Again, let's make sure you guys know, too, if you want to support us in a different way and protect yourself, we have shown you why. We have shown you what we believe about this, and we think that we are actually going to be helping a whole lot of people if this ever happens. If there is ever an EMP, which we are under a severe threat enough that the president signed an emergency order about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, to harden our grid, then I would highly recommend getting an EMP Shield. It is the same company that is now contracted by multiple agencies. They worked for DHS, DOD, and now officially part of the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid, which has its own. Again, this can protect against all 3 phases of an EMP, E1, E2, and E3. It grounds the signal before it can fry the device. It also protects against a natural solar flare, which they say is guaranteed to happen. It's just a matter of time. Think about everything you own electrical frying out, or you get it protected with, say, one device, say in your house, boom. How much is that worth? So check it out, marfooglenews.com/EMP. Again, somebody said the other day I was talking about how hospitals and how they could be under duress and they could be under threat right now too, that is being published in mainstream as well, and they say that it is imminent. They're basically telling us it's going to happen. Somebody said, oh, well, don't worry, they have backup power, but they can't continue. If they hack their systems like they did just the other week, that means that they cannot continue. They can't push forward. They can't do things. If they can't do things for insurance purposes, whatever it is, we're part of a bureaucracy. So if the hospital system shuts down part of their systems, then they won't be able to continue. Yes, if they started a surgery and they've got them open or something, they might be able to continue with a backup generator. But get this, What if the backup generator is down as well? People assume that generators are protected for this kind of thing, but they're not. And are the hospital generators actually backed up by this? They should be, and they probably are on the list of people that they are trying to do, that the government is trying to back up right now. But those generators will be fried along with it. The generator and the backup generators. So when they lose power, they lose power if something like this happens. It's a veteran-owned business. It's 100% American-made, and it helps out the channel, and you get a discount. So make sure to go over there and say that we sent you. Either way, let's go over back to the chat, and then we're going to be getting into Governor Cuomo announces a mandatory CV test for out-of-state travelers. Okay, so just to put that in other words, if you are not from New York, mandatory, you have to take a test to go into New York. How is it possible? We'll talk about that here in a second. Let's see here. Dex, I'm going to pop open the screener here. Let's see. Hold on. Pop that. Okay. And let's see. By the way, Sea Star Goddess, thank you so much. And then I remembered we were going to put up a card. We're actually making a haul of Foogle. So Pam, Gone Girl 777, Veteran Steve, Machina Opus, and a few others. Amy R., you guys, thank you so much for your support. Kenneth H. Hey, Dex. Hey, sorry, guys. By the way, I want you to know why I'm coughing. I did a smoke machine before this show. I was going to make it all Halloweened out. I started it for about 2 minutes and almost gave myself an asthma attack. Those things are not, those things are horrible. And they say that they're only indoors. That's if you've ever used one. Hey, Dex, Adam, hope you're feeling better. What do you want to bet? That if a pole shift occurs, the MSM will say everyone has been reading their compass backwards. By the way, check out my podcast, Red, White, and Matt with Kenny. Kenneth H., that is such a perfect comment right there. So what he said is if the poles completely turn tomorrow and north is south and south is north, that the news would do a fluff piece and everybody would go, oh my gosh, this whole time we've been reading our compasses wrong. That is so perfect because you know that is something they would do. Sir Budrick says, went to sea and USS Comfort and Mercy evac elites. So Sir Budrick says, went a sea and USS Comfort and Mercy evac elites. Sir Budrick, if you can go further on that, I would like to know. Christian Moore says, my kids said, screw this BS haunted house next year. This crap sucks. Hope you're well, my friend. God bless. By the way, we would have done an earlier show, but we actually went trick-or-treating. And this is the craziest part. We went to a trunk-or-treat at our church, and the trunk-or-treat actually ran out of candy like after 5 or 6 trunks because we got there late. The listed time on Google wasn't the right time. So we got there late, and my little girl is in her big dinosaur outfit. She's got an inflatable dinosaur like 6 feet tall, my 5-year-old. And then my little 1-year-old is in a little tiny dinosaur outfit. Super cute. Get there, nothing. We come back to our neighborhood, and there's nothing. No decorations, no nothing. We go house to house for about 5 houses, nobody. And right as we were about to give up, I ended up taking my daughter up the hill, and I see 100 kids crossing each and every way, people screaming. My street, lamest street ever. 3 blocks up or about a block up, I see all these decorations. I go up there, there's hundreds of kids, and this street decked out. Everybody had decorations. Everybody trick-or-treated. It was amazing. Everybody's out on their porch, sitting on their porch, and some of them devised, I'll post pictures onto Instagram, some of them devised where their deck, they had candy out of PVC pipes that they would drop down. All you had to do is put your bucket there and the candy would drop down the tube. I think most of you have seen this if you went trick-or-treating tonight. Some of them did these intricate things. One guy did a spiral staircase thing that the candy falls down into their thing. It was more fun than a normal Halloween. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I have hope and faith in humanity again. Because how would you take that holiday from kids? But anyways, it was, and people left out sanitizer. People did all sorts of cool stuff. They left out black lights so you could see if there was stuff on. I mean, it was crazy. Thank you for the people that, went all out. By the way, frankly speaking, EU lockdown is to prevent millions of Europeans from flooding streets celebrating the T-Man victory. That was, of course, frankly speaking, said that. And then we've got Sandy Stamp saying, I feel there will be a total unrest after the election. President T-Man is the real winner. The libs will riot when he wins. If the D's steal the Patriots will fight for our freedom and country. That was Sandy Stamps. Like I've said, depending on who wins, I think we will see some craziness. Bogus Hype, thanks. I appreciate that. And Stone Master Kevin says, what's going on from Vancouver, Canada? Just want to say I think I need rehab because of your show. No show 2 days. I was sweating. LOL. Love you show, buddy. Thanks. Thank you again, Stone Master Kevin. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you guys that come in every single night. I hope you're feeling better, says James Carl. And Johnny Dundalis says, Johnny D here from Phoenix. Love your show. Well, thank you guys. Thanks all for the positive well wishes, everything that you guys do for us, everything that you do out there when you share, when you tell people in person, when you guys post up. I saw posters. People were posting on Instagram that they were posting Marfoogle news posters all over the place. I thought that is absolutely awesome. Thank you guys. Every little bit helps. What do you think about this, though? As far as having a mandatory test to go into New York, or any state, mind you, do you think that this is right? Dex, what do you think about this as far as having a mandatory test just to go into a state? Is this legal?
Well, I don't even know. I don't know how he's going to pull it off. I mean, for on one hand, it's maybe a deterrent. It's like, we'll put this up and it'll keep people from coming in. I sure know I wouldn't want to go there if that's the new policy. But it's kind of scary to think about, right? Especially if you haven't been or don't want to be tested, then now you're going to be forced to if you decide to go. And what if you work there and you live in Jersey, but you work there and you got to go back and forth, right?
Yeah, like go over the bridge or something, or you live right on the edge of it. Like, I used to live in Oregon and work in California. It was a 20-minute drive, and then boom, I'm in California. I could imagine if you lived somewhere else and you work in New York or vice versa. I mean, that's crazy. So this is kind of where it's proving the point that some of the states have more power than the actual, say, the president. When it's divvied out, it's basically made to where the states have more power to do these regulations or some of these things, and they can actually get away with a whole lot in individual states. Now, if they start teaming up and all doing the same things, that's crazy. It says New York has eliminated its quarantine travel advisory list, replacing it with strict new blanket testing policy, Governor Cuomo announced on Saturday. It says under the new mandate, travelers from nearly every state in the union must show proof of a negative test taken within 3 days of arriving in New York, and also must queue for 3 additional days. So that's 3 days and then 3 days additional. They cannot talk to anybody. They've got to be off to themselves. That sounds absurd, especially if you're doing it for work. I bet this is affecting thousands already if this is kicking in. It says if that's positive, they must isolate for 2 weeks. Okay, so I guess if you're positive, you can still come in, but you have to isolate for 2 weeks and probably be under some sort of watch. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no. You skipped one thing, though, because you got really excited about the 3 days. Did you notice on the 4th day, you have to take another test?
Are you kidding?
So you can take a test at home in New Jersey, come in, show them that you're negative. You still have to queue for a few days, and then you have to take another test.
Okay, I'm just going to leave it there. But I would say, what do people think about those as far as the accuracy and stuff? Pretty crazy on some of the stuff that's out there. I'll let you guys do that. So says 4 days plus 3 days is 7 days, and that's basically by all probability the incubation period, Kumo said, as he announced 2,049 new cases across the state and 8 deaths yesterday. Says there will be no metrics. There will be one rule that applies across the country. What? The country? There will be no metrics. There will be one rule that applies across the country. So is he saying that it doesn't matter where you are in the country? Or is he saying that this is coming somewhere else? Anyone who refuses to be tested must do this for 14 days. Where do you do it? Do you do it at home or in your friend's house? I don't get it. Do you have to go to their facility? I don't understand that either. Previously, there was a 2-week mandatory for travelers arriving from areas deemed to have high or increasing cases. So if you were from here where they're deeming it, I guess, increasing, then that would be deemed to have a high chance of that. This is a slippery slope, and I'm sure most of you guys agree with that. What do you guys think? I would love to have you guys send me what you think, or tweet me at Marfoogle. If you guys aren't following me over there, I'm actually just a couple, probably 20 short of 21,000 followers over there. So if you can, please head over there and check that out. We can get notifications out and all sorts of things. So make sure to follow me over there at Marfoogle. What do you guys think about that? I'd love to hear it. And of course, as everybody said, not just us, tons of folks around this niche have said that the second is coming. It says, second CV stockpiling wave expected. Well, of course. It says, as winter encroaches, more than half the U.S. consumers are considering replenishing their assortment of goods and essential products that they originally stockpiled during the onset of the CV earlier this year. It says research from Inmar Intelligence says that when the pandemic hit U.S. March, 64% of shoppers created a stockpile of products as a result. Now 50% of shoppers are considering restocking due to a growing fear of a potential second wave. Well, we're on this topic. If you guys have not seen the Songbird, trailer, it is terrifying to me as far as predictive programming. I actually learned about it from Jacob Israel. He posted it when it was just minutes old, and holy moly. If you have not seen that trailer, in fact, we'll go over that. In the end here, I'll try to point you the right direction. It talks about CV23, so the year 23, like CV19. They talk about CV23 has mutated and turned into something that affects your brain, that it eats away at your brain. It's not a zombie movie. It's just like pure scary, and it shows that you have thermals it placed in everybody's home. And then once you get checked and once your thermals get high, within 4 to 6 hours, they come to your house and you have to go with them. If not, you get taken out. Like, you won't even make it out of your building. If you haven't seen that, it is a big budget film and it is absolutely terrifying. Jacob basically said, why are they putting more fear into this subject specifically? Why are they, so much fear? Everybody's on edge as already. Why would they do a movie like this that is going to scare the crap out of everybody? It's not even like a fictional thing. It's based on what's going on right now. It's called a further iteration of it. It's incredibly realistic, and it's basically painting the picture of this in 3 or 4 years, right around the time where we think that a bunch of people are just going to disappear, saying that it mutated from this. Scary as hell. Just to remind you of that, it's called Songbird. Terrifying. says, and 27% are considering revamping their winter stockpile due to concerns that certain products won't be in stock when they need them. And 27% are more concerned about the safety of in-store shopping if a second wave were to occur. Hygiene products topped shoppers' stockpile lists again, with 67% grabbing toilet paper. Please, people, don't do this again. There's other things too, like just worst case scenario, you can use a shirt. Just saying. I know that's gross, but come on. It says 50% searching for hand sanitizer, both which were in high demand in the early stages of and left store shelves empty and online retailers charging sky-high prices. I saw a little 2 ounce, not even 2 ounce, it was like a 1 ounce bottle of sanitizer in the very beginning. What was it? It was $18.99 for a bottle this big. One of those ones that would normally go on a keychain that would be like $1 or $2. That's what we're looking forward to if it gets that bad. American.
Hey, Adam, seeing those shelves earlier in the article, they're being empty, and I know we've talked about like some of the food shortages and especially with the run on people stocking up. I saw a picture just today, and it freaked me out because it was from a Sam's Club and it was local and it was empty shelves. But what it turned out to be was all the spoiled food from the power outages. Now I said, okay, well, that's a good excuse. But then what I started thinking about is what happened to all of these power outages across the South, and how many stores had to go through that, and how many of them lost tons and tons of produce and meat all to the garbage, and what does that do to our supply, and how does that affect us when we're at this critical point?
Okay, well, so there's also one thing that kind of gets to me. If you're on Twitter, I've been seeing all over Twitter, and in fact, it's not just the South, and this is what I think is really weird. Let me search and see. Powers. Let's see just a couple of them. Over the last week, I've seen all sorts of different places, not by storm, not in the way of Zeta, nothing. All different states, California, Idaho, all these places losing power. And it's almost like everywhere in the country at certain points is having power outages. It's really weird. Let's see here. Power's out. I have time. Let's see here. And if you go back a week, it was like everybody's power was out. All the Foogle fam. Let's do this. In the chat, in the last 2 weeks, let's just say 2 weeks, has your power gone out at all? And then list the state of where that happened. If it did. If it didn't, don't have to say anything. Oh, no, I've had power the whole time. Just the people that had power outages. And I mean anything over, an hour or two. How many places lost power for that amount of time or longer? Specifically enough time to have say a store knock out everything off of their shelves. Quite weird, actually. Northern Tiger says, thanks, congrats for your little boy. Well, thank you, Northern Tiger. I guess it's been a minute since you've been here. Joseph Newhouse, about earlier message. Is it uploading HD straight to copy, so might appear right away, but I put in first playlist. I will have to see the previous message, I'm assuming. S. Norris says, so much going on now next week. Don't think we have a chance. Repent and be baptized in Jesus' name, Acts 2:37-38. Keep up the great work, guys. Merry Christmas 2.0. Thank you so much. And then Adam Jacob Israel was talking about Artemis, so I streamed earlier about this seemingly crazy synchronicity. I hope you can check it out later. I will, Joseph. I always do. And then Christian Moore, F that. We must keep our freedom, stand together. I agree with that. And then Esther Krieger. Huge. I don't even think you wrote anything. Esther, thank you. If I'm saying that, I'm pretty sure I said that right. Esther, thank you so much. Thank you for the massive support of our channel and our show. Pretty wild stuff there. Now, as far as the stuff being off the shelves, are you guys stocked up? And have you had power outages? Let's see here. So we actually have Lamont, Oklahoma, ice storm, 4 hours. And I just saw some Georgia, power out. Let's see here. Already hurricane November 8th. Half of Eagan, Montana, lost power for 2 hours last week. Oklahoma. Let's see. Hey, Machine Opus. Nice to see you here. Let's see here. Perishables aren't so we're stocked up. Gates. My power. If my power went out and I couldn't play World of Warcraft 5 years ago, I would have been pissed. I never got into World of Warcraft. Everybody talked about that game. I don't hate on people that do because I know how those games can get. You can get knocked in. Minnesota power outages. Lancaster County. Nevada. Somebody else said none in Nevada over on YouTube. So you got some in Nevada and some not. 2 hours in Idaho. See, I think, and then Oregon, California, New Mexico, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Oh, okay. You're saying no outages. See, if you say no outages, then kind of takes away. Southwest Michigan, 4 hours. Now, there's Alabama power outage. Man, there's a lot of states here. So that's the thing. Indiana lost power for an hour yesterday. 12 hours, Washington, Uki Lower. I actually had a family member that was in Eastern Washington that lost it for 17 hours 2 days ago. North Carolina. Here's the thing. Yes, they have storms all over the place. And Georgia and all of that, that's explained by a hurricane. But what is really weird is when I was seeing over the last 2 weeks, it was just like everywhere had these massive power outages. Ventura County, SoCal, no outage. Okay, yeah, make sure to not put it if you have no outages. Lost power from 6:15 2 days. Jeez. 4 hours in Inclaw, Washington. See?
And Adam, there's still outages here in Georgia around me. I talked to, as a matter of fact, the guy I was shouted out earlier. He still had his power out today.
Oh yeah, no, that's awesome. So for the people, I was hoping that nobody would say no outages here because that's kind of like the, yeah. Because if we see where it is, then we can mark all those spots. But if you say where it's not, it's kind of like, huh. Yeah. Okay, Zara in New Orleans. That's cool. Well, it's kind of crazy because in my head I'm marking off these spots, and that's pretty much every country. And it's crazy to think about this way, even if it's just totally normal, right? Think about how dependent we are on power and how we take it for granted. When it goes, and then boom, it's just nothing. Vault 11, thank you. You're funny. Let's see here. Mr. Marf and Mr. Dex, thank you. Polka Loca, thank you, man. Thank you. Sorry, you guys. Paul Shaggy. We've got Texas Rob 49. We've got Dean Theoberry, Angels Fury. Joseph Chapman. Obviously, people do. Where are you at? Why aren't you caring? Jeez. You got to start caring about other people. All right, let's see here. So, why would you care? If the entire country is having power outages left and right with no storms, that's a big deal. Think about it. We know from the Department of Homeland Security that our grid is under threat. We know that we're being hacked. We know that 911 went out nationwide. And we know that they cover up most of these and do not report them. NERC, the official report, talking about how many reports went to the Department of Energy. Over 7 years, there was over 550 attacks on the grid. They actually broke it down into all different attacks. Guess how many were publicly brought out? That report showed that only one. And then at the time of us reporting that, which was about 7 months ago, 8 months ago, there was one more that was reported, and it was cyber. So one physical, one cyber were reported out of over 500. So will you know? No. Oh, no, you're good. Don't worry, Chapman. I get you. Be selfless. There is no pandemic. Endgame is the V. It will change your DNA. It has microchip quantum tattoo. Yeah, we've actually read about that kind of stuff. It's crazy. Luciferase. Let's see here. Thank you, guys. Okay, first off, let me pop open something here because you guys, I cannot see, what do you call it? Let me pop this open real quick. I can't see D Live. D Live. I don't know if you guys remember that stupid song I made. Okay, wait a second. Chazzer152, Johnson, and Texas Rob. Thank you guys for being stand-up top contributors tonight. Thank you. Let's see if I can actually get this. What do you call it? What the heck? How do I get the activity? There we go. Pop out. All right. Thank you guys. So, if I can pop this open, I can see you guys. Sorry about that. Sorry for missing you, Chazzer. I appreciate you guys all popping up and popping over here. And special surprise after the show. Make sure to check that out. There's going to be a Foogle fam. It's going to be one heck of a party. And then we have American hostage Phillip Walton rescued in dramatic military operation. It was kind of a SEAL 6 type of thing, or at least that's what they say. It says an American citizen abducted last week in Niger has been rescued during a high-risk U.S. military raid in neighboring Nigeria, officials told ABC News early Saturday. The mission was undertaken by elite commandos as part of a major effort to free U.S. citizen Phillip Walton, 27 years old, before his abductors could get far from taking him captive in Niger on October 26th. So he was only in captivity for a day. Is that right, Dex? So they got him the next day. Is that true?
Well, no, they just did this Saturday, so it would have been 4 days.
Oh no, I'm sorry. And
you saw 27 as his age.
No, my brain was putting.
Still, it's fast.
Putting thing. So 4 days though. Imagine that. How did they even do that fast? Even 4 days. If you think about it, there's been things that have been like a month and then they don't even step in. So they stepped in with SEAL Team 6 for this. Is he a regular U.S. citizen? I mean, this must have been something. Why don't they act quicker on other things? It makes you think like, if they were doing it SEAL stuff wise, I mean, do you think that the president was involved in the decision to do this, since it involves another country? Isn't that something that would happen? Situation room, sitting there, SEAL Team 6 getting sent in, something like that, you know? I don't know. It seems like this is the elite SEAL Team 6 carried out the rescue mission and took out all but one of the captors, according to the officials with direct knowledge about the operation. So this is a high, high-ranking official type of thing. These guys went in there and kicked ass and then took this guy out. Seems to me like there's always something weird about these kind of things. Why did they do it in only 4 days? How did they do it in only 4 days? Is it because it was Niger? Is it? I don't get that. If I sound ignorant or stupid and you're like, of course, because it's this. Correct me. Put it in there. Why? How did they do that so fast? It says U.S. and Nigerian officials has said that Walton was kidnapped from his backyard last Monday after assailants asked him for money, but he only offered $40 and was taken away by force, according to sources in Niger. Well, what'd they expect? Guy's watering his plants. $40 in Nigeria, that's like $44. Jeez. Just kidding. It's probably like $400. What'd they expect him to do? Bust out a safe? I don't know. If you guys do not want to be tracked and traced, I'd highly recommend going over to EDEC. Again, these bags are thermo-sealed, amazing magnetic closures. You put your device or your laptop or your phone in, and they go off-grid. There is no tracking or tracing, no signals being sent, no signals being received. Think about all of the uses you could have for this, or a family member that would love this. If you help us out, we help you out with a discount. Make sure to use the savings code Marfoogle. You'll get a discount and you will help the show out at the same time. Thank you guys for doing that. All right, and then we've got NASA's new rocket would be the most powerful ever, but it's the software that has some officials worried. NASA's newest moon rocket was powered not only by 4 RS-25 engines that combined unleash 2 million pounds of thrust, but by 2 solid fuel side boosters that burn 6 tons of propellant a second. Jeez, at such an enormous temperatures that during a recent test fire in the Utah desert, the flames turned sand to glass. That's crazy. It says, when it launches, NASA's Space Launch System rocket, a towering 322-foot behemoth, taller than the Statue of Liberty, would be the most powerful rocket ever flown, eclipsing both the Saturn V that flew astronauts to the moon and SpaceX's Falcon Heavy, which has launched commercial and national security satellites, as well as the founder Elon Musk's Tesla Roadster on a trip to Mars. Which, who knows about that? But as NASA moves toward the SLS's first flight, putting the Orion spacecraft in orbit around the moon, it's not the rocket's engines that concern officials, but the software that will control everything the rocket does. From setting its trajectory to opening individual valves to open and close. Computing power has to become as critical to rockets as the brute force that lifts them out of Earth's atmosphere, especially rockets like the SLS, which is really an amalgamation of parts built by a variety of manufacturers. Boeing builds the rocket's core stage, the main part of the vehicle. Lockheed Martin builds the Orion spacecraft. Aerojet, Rocketdyne, and Northrop Grumman are responsible for the RS-25 engines and the side boosters. Now, check this out. All of those companies are big in weapons and everything else. This is the military industrial complex here, mixing with the Boeing, with Lockheed Martin, with weapon systems, all this. I mean, check this out. And by the way, we've talked about this before. Rocketdyne, like Cyberdyne, just sounds crazy. All of these big companies are involved in this, doing some crazy stuff in the behind the scenes. It says, respectively, at the United Launch Alliance handles the upper stage. So you've got every company involved in these launches. It says all of these components need to work together for a mission to be successful, but NASA's Aerospace Safety Advisory Panel, or ASAP, recently said it was concerned about the disjointed way its complicated system was being developed and tested. One thing I think about is how all of these different companies are making something that will work in chorus so well. At an ASAP meeting last month, Paul Hill, a member of the panel and former flight and mission operations director at the agency, said that the panel has great concern about the end-to-end integrated test capability and plans, especially for flight software. Instead of one comprehensive avionics and software test to mimic flight, he said there is instead multiple and separate labs, emulators, and simulators being used to test subsets of the software. As much as possible, flight systems should be developed for success, with the goal to test like you fly, in the same way that NASA's operations teams train. Now, Dex, as far as these systems go, as our tech expert, why do you think that this is why do you think they even care about the concern about this?
Well, I mean, certainly the computer systems are the most important thing, and especially nowadays. I mean, go back to they talked about the Saturn V. I mean, we jokingly say there's more technology in your iPhone than there was on that ship back then. And so just imagine how much technology has to go into these newer crafts. Not they don't have to, but they do because they can, because technology's advanced so much and there's so much software, and you have to make sure it works right. It's sort of like imagine if the software in a car didn't work. That's like a horrible thing. Things just wouldn't work. So it has to be tested. It has to be tried and true. It has to be really, really solid with no flaws. Because you really don't have a chance to say, oh, let me take it back and fix it. I can't do a recall from space, right?
Well, I guess with all these companies involved, I'm just surprised. Do you think that would be a safety thing if they're all using different tests, they're all doing different things, and then putting it together like a Frankenstein and then launching it? A new way to plug in a human brain into a computer via veins. I don't even like covering these types of stories. It says the hard part of connecting a gooey thinking brain to a cold one and zeroing computer is getting information through your thick skull or mine or anyone's. The whole point of a skull, after all, is keeping a brain safely separate from everything. It says, so if that brain isn't yours, the only way to tell what is going on inside it is inference. People make very educated guess based on what the brain tells the body to do. Like if the body makes some noises that you can understand, that's speech, or moves around in a recognizable way. That's a problem for people trying to understand how the brain works. And an even bigger problem for people who, because of injury or illness, can't move or speak. Sophisticated imaging technologies like functional magnetic resonance can give you some clues, but it would be great to have something more direct. For decades, technologists have been trying to get brains to interface with computer keyboards or even robot arms, to get meat to commune with silicon. It says on Wednesday, a team of scientists and engineers showed results from a promising new approach. It involves mounting electrodes on an expandable, springy, spongy tube called a stent. A lot of people have heard about that, especially family members with a heart stent, and threading it through a blood vessel that leads to the brain. In tests on 2 people, the researchers literally went for the jugular, running a stent-tipped wire up that vein in the throat and then into a vessel near the brain's primary motor cortex, where they then popped the spring. The electrodes snuggled into the vessel wall and started sensing when the people's brains signaled their intention to move, and sent those signals wirelessly to a computer via an infrared transmitter surgically inserted into the subject's chest. In an article published in the Journal of Neurointerventional Surgery, the Australian and U.S. researchers described how 2 people with paralysis due to amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, better known as Lou Gehrig's disease, used such a device to send texts and fool around online by brain control alone. This part is just self-expanding stent technology has been well demonstrated in both cardiac and neurological applications to treat other diseases. It says we just use that feature and put electrodes on top of the stent. So it says it's fully implantable. Patients go home in a couple of days. This is where we're getting, and once they get to the point where they are integrating us so much with this, they will be able to tell exactly what you do. Here's where it gets crazy. What if in the future it's mandatory to get something like this so they know if you're going to commit a crime or you would not be able to commit a crime? Think about in the future, if we have one, 10 years, 50, I don't even think 10 years down the road, where they say you are required to put a computer system that attaches to your body and it monitors your thoughts. Now, it's private. Only this algorithm or AI can actually read it. So another human being, it's not a privacy thing because it's going through a computer, but it makes sure that you only have, or you can have bad thoughts, but you can't act on them. So it shows what you're doing. Now that sounds crazy, but they're actually talking about things like this. Just like there's a show, and I don't know if it was Black Mirror or one of these shows. I think it was something on Netflix back when I had it. It was a movie, I think it was Brazilian, where a drone followed each person on the earth around and watched their every move. If they committed a crime, they just got an instant notice saying you've committed an infraction. Show up, and you would show up to a computer and you would get your infraction, or you would get your jail time or whatever. And it reduced crime to zero in this utopia. Basically, there was no crime. And if there was a crime, it was handled immediately because there was these micro drones following everybody. Well, imagine if they could do that without a drone. Imagine if they could do that, and it's already working with the technology that's already basically implanted into our hands, our cell phones. That's what's coming. That's my opinion anyways. What do you guys think? What do you think about this technology?
They could simply, in a simpler version of what they just have today, where they're reading the signal to actually move your body. Imagine if they put the same thing in and just block the signal to move your body. And then they say, we're going to do this on violent criminals. We're going to do this on people we think it may be a problem. So instead of using a stun device, they just push a button and you can't move anymore.
Or send something out through radio waves that just stops you in your tracks. Say you're holding up a bank and they've got you on camera. They go, oh, that's number 5678844. Boom, turn them off. Freeze them right in the act.
And it becomes a new form of like an ankle bracelet, right? So, oh yeah, you can get out on parole now, but we're going to inject or insert this device in you. So if you give us any problems in the future, we push a button and you freeze.
See, that's some scary stuff. All the computers are going to stay out of my body as long as possible. Speaking of intrusion cyberly, if you guys want to support us in a different way, go and check out NordVPN. It's one of the best virtual private networks out there, and it's super easy. You just literally download it and turn it on. It does everything for you. It's one of the easiest out there. It will protect you from data logging. It will secure you. If you use Wi-Fi's all over the place, if you're using tablets, things like this, if you're using stuff at Starbucks, which not many people do now because of the virus, but again, if you're using public Wi-Fi, I would definitely have this on all your devices. But more importantly, if you have kids with devices, you don't know what they're going to do. You can actually put this onto 6 devices at the same time simultaneously. So again, that's with one account. You can get a huge discount, over 60% on a 3-year plan if you go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. All right, thank you guys for doing that. Let's go over to the chat. Let's see here. What Stoner Bear says, I'm afraid you've had too much to think. I like that. Barefoot Lass, man couldn't have said it better. Maybe they were wanting to inject people to control the peaceful protest. I like that. I've been chipped, now I obey. LOL, Tony Draper says. Sexy Swag says, yes, that's why it will be 6G, 7G, 8G, and so on to connect the world easier for being transplanted, I think. Cody Evans, what you just said, I just can't believe it. Oh my gosh. Sure reality, probably soon. Probably very soon. No, nope, nada, going to be a cyborg. Will not consent, will not comply. Bold the Coffee, it is coming. Yes, control is their goal. Jason78, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for reminding people. Oh, Wise Al, hi all. And Yanit, Stone E. McBlazelot, Lily Lee. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Now check this out. preemie born the size of a Superman doll now poses for photos at every birthday with his sidekick. Oh my gosh. So Dex always tries to put in a piece at the end that I don't know what it's going to be. Oh my gosh. Look at that little guy. He looks like a little old man. Preemies, it's... Oh my gosh. Can you imagine how big that was? Okay, so look at that picture. That's the same figure. He was smaller than that. It says Logan Ray was born at 23 weeks gestation, weighing just 1.5 pounds, the same height as a tiny 12-inch Superman figure. Doctors told his parents to prepare for the worst, but just like his new hero toy, little Logan was a fighter. And with each miracle week that passed, the preemie grew and grew until after 105 days at Randall Children's Hospital in Portland, Oregon, he got to go home. His mom, Val, 34, now takes photos of the boy with the same Superman doll every year to remind everyone how far he's come. He is a little superhero himself. Even when he was just 1.5 pounds in weight, I called him my little tough guy. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is why. Okay, so do you realize 23 weeks? Do you realize why people care about certain things? And I understand why people see both sides. But when you see this, I don't see how people can say that's not life. It's crazy. Still to this day, the doctor will message Val on Facebook asking how the little tough guy is doing. After the birth, nurses suggest photographing him with something next to him that would show his size, so Val asked her husband Rob to go get something. I told him to pick out something that he thought would be appropriate, like a doll that we could disinfect and put inside the incubator. He called me and said, "What about a Superman?" I thought it was perfect. Look at this. Now he's this big. He was smaller than this little toy. During the pregnancy, Val was diagnosed with incompetent cervix, a medical condition where the cervix shortens and opens up prematurely, often causing a woman to miscarry. Val said that the doctors basically told Rob and I that we were going to send us home to miscarry. Both Rob and I looked at the doctor and said we're not going anywhere. Whether we have him tomorrow or we have him 4 months from now, we're staying in the hospital. Proud husband Rob said that she laid upside down, basically with her head lower than her feet, for 20 days without getting out of bed to do anything. To be honest, she's incredible. She didn't complain at all. She laid upside down. Holy moly. So she laid like if you were on one of those beds where you hang by your feet. She laid like that for 20 days without getting out of bed. Because if she did, it would just come out. Is that crazy or what? It says after the birth, little Logan was flown to the hospital with multiple serious complications. Against the odds, he pulled through and went home to his family after 105 long days in the hospital to celebrate his first Christmas at home in Bend, Oregon. The kid is a miracle. This is absolutely amazing. That's why I believe in miracles right there. That is something not everybody would do, and I bet you not a lot of people had what that woman had, and they would do it for a day or two and then say, okay, let's just do it. They were not going to give up on that life. All right.
You like that one, huh?
Yeah, that was good. Thank you. By the way, Renegade P, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I know you guys had several things here. I couldn't get to them. Zippy Moons, don't forget to fall back tonight, peeps. I always forget about that. I always miss it. Mr. Ryosha, thank you. Again, thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for the support. Thank you guys for all of the people giving out subs. Baldy Locks Awake. Excuse me. That's That's awesome. Excuse me. Love the show and fam. Names pronounced excuse me. I read it and I'm like, that's perfect. PMC 2020, thank you. Recalcitrant. We've got Out of the Woods. Frosty Night. Thank you. Number 1 tonight, Chazzer 152. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support tonight. Texas Rob, number 2. Thank you. Thank you and thank you. Ostuo. This isn't a normal show. Again, I don't think we're going to have a normal show until after November 4th. And hopefully there will be a November 5th. Just kidding. Sort of. Johnson, Zippy Moon's MRSA 1, the NPC show, man. Thanks for supporting tonight. I hope you're going to be in the festivities. Baldylocks Awake, Tower Bear, Machina Opus. Thank you guys. Thank you all for your massive support. So just want to let you guys know, we're going to be doing a short little thing here, and then we're going to be popping over. It's going to be a surprise. So, Dex, I want to thank you, by the way.
Yeah, brother.
For being awesome. Texas Rob, what it takes to get first place, LOL. Hey, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for everything you guys do. I appreciate you. I'm going to make sure that I go over the top 3 as well. Thank you so much. Tonight, we are going to go right into something. So, be there for the transition. If you're on YouTube, head over to DLive. Now it is officially time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. By the way, again, popping over to DLive. Make sure to get over to DLive. DLive. Kishara, 1OP. Thank you guys. Love you. Shastina. We're going to be transitioning right into something. DLive, you don't have to go anywhere. You can stay right where you're at. Whoosh. Have a good night. Be safe. Be prepared. And Marf out.
Can't run slow when you on a high road. Never gonna freeze when you're made of gold. Never gonna age when you don't know old. I know origami, but I'll never fold. I knew this since I was yay old. I was walking on some dark roads. Mother once told me, reap what you sow. Never gonna see me slumming low. Can't run slow when you on a high road. Never gonna freeze when you're made of cold. Never gonna age when you don't know old. Love the food fam and the playing ball. Your head ain't going nowhere. My list I stop fella. Gonna bring it right back like a brand new fella. Brayley, Drake Lee, and that's Staley. Gonna go back like Mrs. Daly. Gonna do it like recalcitrant. We're gonna do it like we on a rant. Gonna be around a cake video all day with the buttress girl and the race high. Gonna do it like Mr. Dale B. Bear. Gonna do it just like we don't care. Just like dude is about Mary Lou. Gonna bring it back and you know that flu. Never gonna see me slumming low. Can't run slow when you on a high road. Never gonna freeze when you're made of cold. Never gonna age when you don't know old. I know origami, but I'll never fold. I know origami, but I'll never fold. I'm about to bring it on the low. Gonna bring it back like ooh, ooh, ooh. Big shout out to Susan Donahue. Redbird, glad you're home where you need to be. Please tell me the dream. Of course you gotta go back and down. I'm going right back and you know me now. I miss you, Bobby. I hope everyone remembers we are still number one. One even if we don't agree. One day it won't matter, yes or thee. Please, 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 please agree to disagree and get over it. Much love, Adam and Dex and fam. Gonna go over to sandy stands? What about receiving advertising for items you talk about in your homes? Our phones and iPads are listening to us all with the candid age. Songbird looks creepy, but it's warning. Do you know what we're told? Oh, we can make this much worse. Well, if the movie says it was caused by a V3, gonna bring it back down, die hard prepper. Get prepared and no prep now. Be prepared later, time is short. Gonna do a 10 and the sticks together, nor gonna bring it down like a Suzanne. Watch Faith and Wisdom, Warrior, last video. Oh, yo, 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 oh, Susan Donahue with many thanks and much love. If I were a betting woman, my money would be on hashtag Team Humanity. Hospitals get 3,000 per TV. Test here in Nebraska this week. Goes with the local doctor, it's all about the money. Oh, Jules B. Da ba da ba ba. Da da ba 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 ba. Da da ba 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 ba. Ooh. Gonna bring it on down in the Baker Bay. Gonna do it like an old on every day. Hey, Coach Maria, just follow. Going right back and we better not shallow. Hip bobbing for the mafia. Gonna do it like you know, yeah, yeah. I know what will coming, but I'll never fold. I know what will coming, but I'll never fold. Cool and Tony Brown going back, don't now. I'm gonna bring it back, Ashley Murray. Oh, gonna do it like now. UNC can't see going back. Wilson, not me. Hey, with that G winning, then the Deborah and everybody scanning. Going right back, Hempin ain't that easy. Bring it right back, and he makes it seem breezy. Can't Amp and the Susan D. I love Beagles with the L-E-L. Karen from Columbia and my mo. Lower, 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 lower. I know what will coming, but I'll never fold. I knew this since I was yay old. I was walking on some dark, dark roads. Mother once told me, reap what you sow. Never gonna see me slumming low. Can't run slow when you on a high road. Never gonna freeze when you're made of cold. Never gonna age when you don't know old. Everybody really wanna go back now, macro Australia, and everybody proud to Billie G and I cut your mind. Do your WG and WG, ain't gonna do Keisha Ra, Angela Crystal and everybody gonna do the big up and feel Billy X, speech for why us and what's next. MC with that going back, you're gonna bring it right back down the track. We're gonna do the stoplight, feel Billy X, gonna do the April Osborne, wow. Johnny Dumas duo and Alexander Poker Loco AE3, a barefoot lass and the J Stone E, and then the mama C. Hey, Jumpy in the Denver bar. Surprise, 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 y'all. I'm gonna do it just like a jaw farm and the Wilson 90, y'all. Never gonna see me slumming low. Can't run slow when you on a high road. Never gonna freeze when you're made of cold. Never gonna age when you don't know old. I know what will coming, but I'll never fold. I knew this since I was yay old. I was walking on some dark, dark roads. Mother once told me, reap what you sow. Everybody wanna be a man, like Harvey, all 6'10". Gonna do the Doodah Kelly, gonna bring Eddie. Never gonna be, oh no, not Jelly. Raps a girl now, going back how I'm proud like a brown now, how now, brown cow. Hey, Keisha and the Johnson dough. Going right back and you don't know. Hey, Chaz at 152. Ooh, 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 hey, Chaz at 552. Ooh, hey, Chaz at 152. La 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 la. La House Jokester 426. Adrenaline and now RJO. It gonna bring it back, gonna bring it back. AX star and you're gonna go all the way down to the Brandino. Gonna bring on joy being Angel's heart. And Texas driving from the start. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Butterfly, halfway to where I got me. Gonna get the work. Better be like me, cause I come with the shout out. Still here, trying to do top down. Gonna be back like a minute in a days. Play it right back, keep showering 7 50 ways. Do it everybody, yeah. Already know me, shower and show. Gonna bring it like the ocean.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Gonna bring the new follower, cactus patch girl. Gonna do it, everybody know girl. A rip curl, gonna be the Tina Brown cool and do that look like recalcitrant. La 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 la. There better be and a ha ha ha. Hey, thanks us to a full gift inside. No, 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 no. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Susan's on the hill, Johnson's zippy moon. Mercer one MPT show and they knew. Body locks away, hey, say hey to Jen. Tower Bear, Miss Tina, Opus and then back ways, forwards, everybody way go. Coming back round with the number 1 I do. Oh, with the Jazzer 152. Texas Rob 49, thank you. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Everybody gonna go. Everybody gonna go. Do it right back and everybody go. Going with a Mr. Miosha, like Mr. Mioga. Going yoga, like a wearing toga. Bringing on the samurai, busting in the loga. Yoga, doing it all night, hot night. Gonna bring it back like a mug that chowkai. Gonna do it like now, got the towkay powder. Maybe not louder. Gonna bring it back just a little bit louder. And just heart, everybody really wanna go hours, 5 hours, channel jammer. Gonna bring it right back like I'm going on the hammer. Bad grammar, do it every day with bad grammar. Gotta hit it right back with the bad mama jammer and the ball shaggy. Do it right back, never back, and then I got a cramp in my leg. Oh, you couldn't even see with my rag go. Gonna do it like I never go handle. Gonna go back overhead heads oh. Overhead hills, just like the lady giving birth to baby. 23 weeks and they said it was a baby, but she kept going ever. Oh, we gotta keep it now. Gonna bring it down with the la la now. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Got the recalcitrant with the piece of water. Got the head bobbing on the way to people water. Gonna do what everybody knows, Amiata. Gonna bring it right back like Erica Picotta. And I love giggle in the doo-doo. Gonna bring it right back, cookie-licious too. And the Sonic cool and everybody do. With the proud grammar, power grammar, and my bad grammar. And that guy, Mr. CVA. Gonna do it like now with a copy hay. Gonna bring it back now, never gonna fill with hay. I got a Johnny Do, Nicolay, Nicolo. I'm gonna bring it like the Pearl Coffee and the no. I'm a dude, I'm me, and the truth be told. Dang, I'm a fool, and I never fought a gang. But I cut through mom, and then everybody sang. Everybody got the words going around too. With the Amy and Eric out, house and track. Gonna do it like, oh, I'm just one hand. One hand, baby, there's Missy out, oh, shawty. Everybody knows a rap's a girl now. Going back, wow, and the rest of
a torpid chain. Everybody pray. Got everybody going in the bounce back. Do it like this and do it like that.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Got the brandy AH, do it everybody day. On a day to day with the bases. Going right back now, I remember names, but I couldn't even remember happy faces.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Where are you? Only use I use Marfoogle News. I'm looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse wrong. Marfoogle News. Where are you? Only use I use Marfoogle News. Marfoogle News. Where are you? Only use I use Marfoogle News. I'm looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse wrong. Looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse wrong. Looking outside of my window, seeing a crescendo. I'm not going out there where apocalypse wrong. Marfoogle News. Where are you? Only use I use Marfoogle News. Marfoogle News. Where are you? Only use I use Marfoogle News. Marfoogle News.
All right, now we are going for a special Halloween event with a ton of the Foogle family.